Greetings, Chris Viola here with the March 28th edition of the Perfecting Equilibrium vlog. Today we're taking another look, or a second step I should say, into putting up our own private large language model, so-called AIs, with our own curated data and local data so we can get a writer's assistant that puts together background sections in our voice with data that we can trust. So last week we looked at a few different things in terms of what open source software packages we wanted to use. Today we're taking a deeper tried to say dive and look, a deeper look, there you go. A deeper look at h2oGPT, which was the package that we preferred. This is the part that we looked at last week, where it has the usual chat interface. The difference here is that because this is a demonstration site for nerds, it has 4 sets of answers using 4 different models. Here's the Mistral AI, here's the GPT Turbo, and so on and so forth. I'll put a link to last week where we went through this in some depth. What we wanted to look at this week is how much can we customize this for our own setup? So let's go through the tabs here on h2oGPT. Here are the collections, so we can upload our own collections of documents for training here, or we can go out to public models, which is what we're planning to do. Remember last week we looked at some publicly available collections, including from the Library of Congress. There's also a document viewer, so you can, as you're testing, this is more for, again, this is the nerd interface, not the final interface that we'll show to people who are using this. Writers don't want to be able to see this, but this allows you to pull in the documents that are used to generate the responses and to see exactly what you're pulling up. So that's a very good way of testing that you're getting the results that you expect. There's a chat history, expert. Quite a lot of customization is available here. One of the things that I forgot to mention before in the document selection is that you do have the ability to add local collections in here. Very, very good for being able to set up and train, so we can set it up not only to provide the answers that we need, but to provide them in a way that we would have written them. That's never going to be 100%. It's going to be close enough. And with any of these things, we need to be thinking in terms of, we'll rough something out and then we would work through it by hand. One of the reasons I've named this Virtual Grad Student is that you should think of this the way that if you were a professor or a writer who had a grad student as an assistant, that you would use a grad student. You wouldn't merely cut and paste their stuff into your document. You would use it as a starting point. You'd probably go back and check a few of those references to see if they're summarized correctly, and then you would write through it. We're going to do the same thing here. Here with the system, we have quite a nice few ways that we can modify the interface, which means that we will be able to customize this just from this admin panel without having to actually go into the code, which is useful. We'll probably end up in the code at some point, but who wants to do that? It sounds like a lot of work. There's more here. Terms of service, we don't need to go. Log in and log out, blah, blah, blah. Here's a list of the hosts that this particular instance is running on. This won't matter here for us in terms of this list, but it'll allow us to generate our own list. And so I'm sure that at the very least we're going to have some running on local machines and some running on a public service like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure for public access. So that's where we are this week. That's right at the 5-minute mark. Look, at how we can customize h2oGPT. This is open source, and I'd like to say that this is the one that we're going to use. This is the one we're going to start with, but you can never tell until you get deep in if it's going to work out. So we'll see, and we'll run until we hit a roadblock, and then we'll decide what to do at that point. I hope you're having a great week. Feel out.